This is a bit of a more advanced concept, but this is specifically something I see Skye players do a lot in VCT. And I don't know quite the conversion rate to ranked. Again, I haven't played enough Flash Initiator to see the conversion rate from like VCT to ranked with this specific playstyle. Or it's not really a playstyle, it's more of like a gimmick, a strategy. But I see it like pretty much every time there's a Skye player in VCT, I see them do this at least once. It's good. So the pattern is this, and you get a tag, your flash pops right here, you know that someone, you don't know how many, are here. And at that point in the round, that is enough information for you. Now, let's go on to the next piece of information that you get. Next piece of information that you get is your chamber you get to pick. So your chamber you get to pick right here, so you know that there was at least one person here, but it's also very reasonable to assume that there's another person with that person. So right now we've pretty much deduced that this is a default. It's probably like a 2-2-1 or a 2-1-2 default. And it's very important from how you play this round now, it is very important to figure out what kind of default it is. Is it a 1-3-1? Is it a 2-1-2? And the best way to do that is you know that there was someone here, and it's very reasonable to assume that they're just going to be sticking around or like at least be very close by. What I would have done here is I would have dogged out of the smoke to see who's there and how many. And this is something I see a lot in VCT, and it's basically just breaking down their default. And even though this information seems negligible at first, this can heavily impact how your team plays out the round and give you a lot of information in a very short amount of time. Have you ever wanted to see this? But instead, you're just stuck looking at this. Hi, my name is Berate. I'm a Radiant coach, and if you want to get coached absolutely free of charge, join my Discord server, read the VOD submission rules, submit a VOD for me to review, and I will get to it as soon as I can and turn it into a video giving you detailed notes along the way. Enjoy the video. So your mistake kind of started, and I think this is just like a pre-round planning issue. You're sitting in this angle right here, and this angle is inherently very aggressive, if you know what I mean. Now, it's fine if you're playing aggressive with initiators if you're using some kind of utility to back you up. So like throwing a flash here and then playing for a pick, absolutely, I love that strat. I use that when I like play flash initiator sometimes. It's great. However, since you're not using any utility, you inherently have to play very passive here, especially because you have your dog and you have your flash, and those pieces of utility are extremely important. Oh, what's it called? And these pieces of utility are extremely important for like retakes and like just to overall help your team. So the fact that you're playing this aggressive of an angle, because like if someone wide swings you right here, you're dead. Like you're probably getting one, but then you're getting immediately traded by the second guy. Because you don't really have a get out of jail free card. Now, if you were playing Jet and you're playing this angle, I would love this angle because you could just dash away after you get one, you're fine. But since you don't have a get out of jail free card and getting a kill here doesn't really benefit you, because remember, 1-for-1 trades will most likely always favor the attackers. This angle here isn't the best one that you could have possibly played. A better angle, I would say, would probably be to play a back pillar, and it would be to throw a flash right here as they're coming out. That'll stall them for a bit. Or alternatively, you could also play back here, wait for the Viper Wall to come up, and then flash through the Viper Wall and then fight something with your Reyna. But as a flash initiator, you always want to be coordinating something with your main duelist. And right now, the duelist in the general vicinity is the Reyna. So coordinate something with your duelist, and even if it isn't like communicative, you could just play with the duelist and get ready to use utility, because you can just use like your game knowledge to know that Viper's probably going to wall like this. They're going to come out right here. They're going to plant the spike. Someone's going to sit here. Someone's going to sit here, and the rest are going to be playing in main if everything goes well. So this is their standard setup. What you could do is then, based off of this knowledge, you could flash. I'm about to sneeze. Woo! Anyways, based off this knowledge, you could probably flash through this wall, isolate a fight onto this guy, get your clove to smoke off main, and then you isolate the fight on this guy, and then after that, your close plant's much easier. But all that potential there, going into this round, is thrown away by the fact that you're playing this angle right here off rip, and you risk getting yourself shot. But you're lucky that they don't swing you right here, and that you don't die. Like, you're extremely lucky that they don't swing you right there. However, your second mistake is also right here. You're fully exposed from mid right now. None of your teammates, your chamber gave up mid a while ago. So there's a very real chance that someone could walk up late mid and, well, we see what happens. Someone walks up late mid and you die. Yeah, this is a problem right here. The only spot that they could possibly be are backside and half wall. And I think that you realize that a spot that they could be is backside, but I don't think you realize here that the spot that they could be is half wall. So you just like run out with utility. Here what I probably would have done is I would have sat in this corner and I would have just dogged half wall. Because as of right now, your teammates are already running up, getting ready to clear back sight. That's fine. You don't really have a gun, so there's really no point in you fighting here. So your best bet here is 90% of the time to just sit in this corner and dog this for your duelist. And I would probably calm to your Jet. Ayo, Jet, I'm dogging this. Don't peek yet. Nice. You probably could have saved yourself from dying. You probably could have, you know, saved it. You probably get a bonus that Spectre, but your Jet trades you. That's fine. You convert it. This is a bit of a more advanced concept, but this is specifically something I see Skye players do a lot in VCT. And I don't know quite the conversion rate to ranked. Again, I haven't played enough Flash Initiator to see the conversion rate from like VCT to ranked with this specific playstyle. Or it's not really a playstyle, it's more of like a gimmick, a strategy. But I see it like pretty much every time there's a Skye player in VCT, I see them do this at least once. It's good. So the pattern is this, and this is something that I'm probably gonna title the video this low-key like, this is what Radiant Skye players are doing that you're not, or something like that. So you get a tag, your flash pops right here, you know that someone, you don't know how many, are here, and at that point in the round, that is enough information for you. Now let's go on to the next piece of information that you get. Next piece of information that you get is your chamber gets a pick. So your chamber gets a pick right here, so you know that there was at least one person here, but it's also very reasonable to assume that there's another person with that person. So right now we've pretty much deduced that this is a default. It's probably like a 2-2-1 or a 2-1-2 default. And it's very important from how you play this round now, it is very important to figure out what kind of default it is. Is it a 1-3-1? Is it a 2-1-2? And the best way to do that is you know that there was someone here, and it's very reasonable to assume that they're just going to be sticking around or like at least be very close by. What I would have done here is I would have dogged out of the smoke to see who's there and how many. And this is something I see a lot in VCT, and it's basically just breaking down their default. And even though this information seems negligible at first, this can heavily impact how your team plays out the round and give you a lot of information in a very short amount of time. Because say there's a kill here and then you only see one person in this entire area, because I think the dog can clear out this box. It's very reasonable to assume that right now they're running a 1-3-1 default, assuming that you only saw one here. That means they're going heavy mid, and that means that they are probably going to be pinching your chamber. So at this point, I would be rotating here, trying to get this angle right here so that they have to fight us on two fronts, because it looks like your Rain is heading nest right now. 2, if this was a 1-2-2 default, then I would be focusing my attention on main. I would be trying to set up a crossfire with my clove here, and then I'd be telling my Reyna, Ayo, watch out mid, because there is still heavy mid presence. And if I saw nothing here, then it's very reasonable to assume that it was a 2-3, or it was a 2-2-1 default, and this guy just rotated over because we knew he was here beforehand. At this point, same idea, your chamber's about to get pinched, so you got to be hot-tailing it over there to help your chamber. But just by using one piece of well-timed utility, you can gather a lot of information about their default off of this right here. But the fact that you're just sitting there waiting for them to do something means that they're probably taking mid right now. Your chamber then dies. Wait a minute, where does your chamber die from? Your chamber dies from main, and then they pretty much have A site for free at this point. So if after you flashed and after chamber got contact main, if you would have used your dog there, you probably could have cracked their whole default. But it is a 4v2 retake, and you should win this round. Yep. You should have won this round pretty swimmingly. But this entire situation could have been avoided because imagine for a second that you lost your fight mid. And imagine for a second, imagine that you lost your fight mid, and imagine that instead of a 4v2, it was a 3v2, or worse off, a 2v2, because I'm pretty sure another person took a fight right here. Then this round would have been a lot more fishy. So again, you won the coin toss this round of winning gunfights, but you want to be putting yourself in positions where you have the information so that you don't have to put yourself in these situations. Does that make sense? But yeah, there's like a rule of thumb that I use every time I play Flash Initiator. If I still have utility in my inventory at the end of the round, I'm doing something wrong. You should be using your utility as much as you possibly can in the round and never feel like you're quote unquote wasting it, because every piece of like initiated utility, unless you're just throwing it at the sky, gives some form of tangible information. That round you were playing way too passive. So I make it a point to say that you shouldn't be using information utility at the very start of rounds on pistol round in particular, or against teams that you know rush a lot. But in every other round, if you're playing an initiator that gives you hard info, you need to be using that information utility like as soon as the round starts. Yeah, as soon as you know that people are elbow, you should use your dog to see how many are there. Now, this isn't like the purpose of the dog isn't to see if people are elbow or to confirm that people are elbow. You know that they're elbow, but you want to be there to see how many, just to see if it's like a lurker, an outlier, or if it's the whole team. Because if it's the whole team, then you should be calling for rotates right here. And this just comes down to a game sense thing of when to use your dog for info and when to not. But this would definitely be a time where you would use your dog for info to see how many people are elbow, just to see if it's a lurker that your clove caught, or just to see if it's a full team. And in this case, it's a full team. And if you would have used your dog there to see, you probably would have given yourself a chance to run away, get to a better position. You probably would have survived this, because right now you're kind of up a creek there, and you're lucky that you got one. You're lucky that their jet is bad and like dashed into the smoke before the smoke fully formed. Make sure that you're using your utility to decipher defaults. Make sure that you're not playing aggressively, and make sure that you can actively work off of the information that you're getting. Other than that, the information doesn't mean much. Not a single round on attack have you actually done your job as an initiator. And your job as an initiator is to get your duelist on site, to flash for the duelist to get them on site, and to be second entry. I'm gonna skip through just to find a round where you actually do your job. I can't do this round because you're buying a sheriff when your team is getting vandals. That's the main thing. You usually need to learn how to set up your duelist on attack, and until you do that, I can't like coach really anything else. But yeah, until you do that, I can't really coach much else. But on defense, you can definitely take the tips that I gave you on defense, and like breaking up breaking up defaults, deciphering defaults, using like, you know, stuff like that.
Hey you, if you made it to the end of the video, make sure to subscribe to Berate, or I will take your Valorant LO.